there's no one there suffering. No one is talking to no one. Blah blah blah. So it's stuff that's really easy to say and it's easy to believe, and so it's absolutely possible to see that everything is perfect exactly as it is, and then to do what you do. So so the child asking for a bit of bread is perfect, and you giving them some bread is perfect. You see, so it's nothing that you do or don't do can take away from this perfection. But the thing is, years ago when I was really into it, when I was really into Advaita, that would have been a problem. Giving a child a piece of bread would have been a problem, of course, because this child is talking to no one. There's no one here who can do anything. There's no bread. There's no child. There's no. So I was still living with a concept of nothing to do. And in a way, I see now just the arrogance of that, the total arrogance in the face of life, actually disguised as my freedom. It's brilliant. But of course, I'm also not here to tell anyone how to live. So I'm not telling you should go out and feed the starving or whatever. You'll find yourself doing what you do. And the example I usually give is, they say you're walking down the street and you have to be careful what I say here because I got told off last time. You're walking down the street and you see a disabled. Oh God. You see someone who's struggling. You see a person of a certain age who's struggling to carry shopping bags. I got told. I used the term old lady at the conference in California, and I got told off. So I'm not allowed to say old lady anymore. This is New York. I love New York. I feel free here. It's great. Yeah, this woman came up. This woman came up to me after the talk in the conference in California. Said, "Jeff, what age do I have to be an old lady?" And she was really angry with me. It's funny. Anyway, so you see an old lady. On the other side of the street, she's struggling with her shopping bags, and in an ultimate sense, it's oneness appearing as an old lady carrying shopping bags, and it's all a dream, all an illusion, blah 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 blah. It's all just an appearance, But what you might find yourself crossing the road to help, even though in an ultimate sense no one needs any help, and everything's life is complete, and it's because it's like life sees itself in the form of that old lady, and it moves to help itself across the road, because of course it does. What else is there to do? Or you see, you might find that you don't help her across. This is the thing, because what you might find is that the last thing that she wants, the last thing that she needs. So if you're coming with this concept, I have to be compassionate, I must help all the time, what you might end up missing that actually help is the last thing she wants. You might end up missing that, in your desperation to feed the starving. You might find that actually you're feeding this child. Actually, the last thing they need in that moment is more food. You don't know. You see, you don't know. There's no. I'm not here to tell anyone how to live.
No, I wasn't so much asking that as how, and I realize this is on the level of thought, but how all of the large-scale pain in the world that, right, how one makes sense of that with this idea that, I mean, I know it's life. Obviously, it's part of life.
Separation. People don't go out and rape and torture and murder because they see this. Right. People who go out and rape and torture and murder don't, and of course I obviously can't know, but it seems this way. you know, they don't. They feel totally separate from life. They feel they don't see this. So this is, in a way, that's the very definition of suffering. In a way, is not seeing. So actually, the word sin in Greek, it literally means to miss the point, to not see. And when Jesus was on the cross, it's that amazing moment where he looks down on his torturers and he says, "Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. They know not what they do." So if you kind of decode what he's saying there, forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. Forgive them, Father. They are innocent. They know not what they do. They don't know. They are ignorant. They are ignoring. They are literally ignoring, not seeing. Forgive them, Father. They are innocent in their not seeing of life. It's because they don't see. They think that the problem is out there, and they have to go and crucify it. It's because they don't see that they have to go out and torture and kill and murder and so this isn't even to condemn anyone, because it's in our ignorance we are innocent. It's because we don't see. We don't go out and torture and kill and murder because we see that life as it is enough. We go out and we go out and kill and murder and torture because we don't feel complete. That's where it begins. It begins with separation. It begins with me and you. Now, again, in an ultimate sense, it's oneness appearing as a torturer, a murder. Of course, it's all life appearing. But oh God, I mean, that's dangerous. When you start to, this is the problem. When this becomes a belief, so this is the danger. Well, not danger, but this is what can happen if you take on all this non-duality stuff as a belief system. So I've seen this happen to so many people. And again, ultimately, it's all okay because it's life or whatever. But really, I mean, people start to believe that everything's oneness. That's dangerous. People start to believe that everything is oneness. And they start to use that belief to justify doing whatever they want, or to excuse whatever they want. So, oh well, it's all oneness, so if I go and stab someone, well, that's oneness too. That's someone with a belief. That's someone with a religion. That's someone with a belief in oneness, as opposed to seeing what this is really pointing to. Oh yeah, well, it's all oneness, so yeah, concentration camps are oneness, so what? Yeah, of course, in an ultimate sense, but again, try saying that when you're in one. Or try saying that when your family's just been murdered. It's easy stuff, easy to say. I think when we were talking about, I did a meeting in Amsterdam last year, and we were talking about this, and there was someone in the audience, and he had been to a lot of Advaita meetings, and he picked up this idea. Well, everything's oneness, so concentration camps are oneness, aren't they? I was like, yeah, but so is liberating them. So this doesn't exclude anything, you see. It's just this can so easily become just another belief system that you use to further separate yourself from life, rather than because what we're really talking about is total intimacy with life. And when there's total intimacy with life, do you need to go out and kill to make yourself feel better, or to end a longing that you have? Or no, of course. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. This is the thing. I mean, this body is certainly capable of killing if it needed to, but watch out, everyone. I'm just, in a way, it's not that you become this wonderfully good, pure, perfect person. It's nothing like that. I mean, that's the dream. But all I can say is, in a way, when you see this, what you kind of lose interest in violence. because it doesn't do anything for you anymore, because you're not trying to hold up this image of yourself. That's the beginning of violence, is when you live with this image of yourself. Once you have an image of yourself that you have to maintain it, and you have to make sure that other people see you in a certain way, then other people become a threat to you, because other people can take away what you have. If you own something, if you have something, whether it's a religion, a belief system, or an image of yourself, whatever, now on some level the world becomes a threat to you. Now on some level other people become a threat, because they can take away what you have, or they can not give you what you want, or take away what you have. It's the same thing, really. If you believe something, someone else might not believe it. Now this is violence. This is the beginning of violence, the beginning of war. If you see yourself as a certain way and someone else doesn't see you that way and argues the opposite, now violence begins, because you're arguing over images. So when you really start to see through these images, really what's left to defend? And again, I'm not saying you become a saint. I'm not saying that at all. It's just what I can say for myself is there's just no interest anymore in hurting. There's no interest in hurting you. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't make me feel better. So it begins here with me and you. That's where it begins. It begins here with the separation, me, you, and taken to its extreme, you get rape, torture, genocide. But it begins with me and you. That's the origin of violence, is seeking, essentially, seeking. So this is what we're sharing. These meetings goes right to the heart of seeking, or what it means to be a seeker. In a way, we're all just looking for unconditional love, and some of us have to go to extremes to find it. It's like for example, a murderer, for example. So he or she. I've been brainwashed by California. It's so there's something in him that it's like it starts to grow and grow. It feels like something it's like something needs to release itself. And they feel that the only way that can release itself is by actually getting rid of something, killing something. But it's really it's all about this. There's something here that is deeply at war in them with what they feel. Of course, this I could be wrong, but that seems to be the case. So when there's no longer anyone at war with this, or at least when the war is allowed, you see, when it's okay for even the war to be there, it's not even about getting rid of the war. It's like to see that the war can even be there. It's just life happening. Then do you really need to go out and destroy things? I wonder. So you do have to be careful with this stuff, because you take on this belief that it's all oneness, and before you know it, you're killing, and you're justifying it by saying it's all, your friend's partner is killed in a car crash, and you say, oh well, there was no one there, or it didn't. It's just oneness appearing as. Come on, I mean that's just callous. Yeah. Oh, but it's oneness being callous. I mean, you can just. it's just it's silly, you know. It's a little bit immature, I think. This is, to me, this has always been about if there is any freedom, it can't be a rejection of humanity. It can't. It's not possible. If there is any freedom, it has to be right there, right at the heart of our humanity. So what? It's about seeing things as they are. You know. I remember, if my mum's watching, she'll probably remember this. I think I've told this story before, but it's so funny because it shows you how easily this non-duality Advaita stuff can just become a religion. Some of you might have heard this before, but a few years ago. This was in my at the height of my seeking. When I thought I was no one or whatever, I thought I was enlightened or something. So I went for a walk with my mum in the local park, and my mum, she loves nature. She loves trees and flowers. She's very kind of exuberant, and she likes to express herself. And we're walking through the park, and we're walking past this beautiful tree, and it's her favorite tree. She walks in that park in that park every day, and she just wanted to kind of share it with me. So she said, "Jeff, isn't that a beautiful tree?" And so I was like, "What are you talking about? I mean, that's beauty as a concept." You know, tree as a concept. You know, you think you see a separate object. And I remember at the time thinking, God, she's so lost, you know, because I thought I was kind of above all of that stuff. I was above. Yeah, I thought I had seen through the dream or had escaped the dream or something, and she was still totally lost in the dream because she still said things like, "That's a beautiful tree," and that's how deluded she was. You know, I just remember getting really angry with her, you know, and well, I don't want to hear your stories anymore. I'm sick of your stories. I'm sick of your concepts. And of course, then, you know, and she said, "Jeff," something like, "Jeff, why are you so angry?" And of course, I said, "Well, no one's angry. It's just anger arising for no one." And oh, yeah, of course, ultimately it's true, of course, but somehow it wasn't true. So she was right. It was a beautiful tree, and I had stopped seeing because I thought I was this wonderfully enlightened, spiritual, non-duality. No, I was just, arrogance had taken a new form. It was just arrogance dressed up as freedom. So that sort of stuff does not interest me anymore. It really doesn't.
It's also that the full cycle didn't happen. You know that Zen saying where trees?
Yeah.
I look out and I see the trees, and then I realize that trees aren't trees, and mountains aren't mountains, rivers aren't mountains. Then finally, in my deepest realization, the trees became trees again.
Yeah.
Might have been arrogant. This might have been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, it was obviously what I needed to see at the time. It was where I was at the time, but it was arrogant in the sense, again, a sense of not seeing, in the sense I'd stopped listening to something, just the simple thing like it was the simplest thing. It was the most, just a mother wanting to communicate with her son because she loves him or something, that she wants to share. It's like the sunset, right? The beginning. It's like she wanted to share the beauty. Of course, it's ineffable. Of course. It's not. She was pointing to that. She wasn't asking me to believe a concept that it was a beautiful tree. Yeah. So yeah, you can get really stuck in that. I'm not here. You're not there. No me. No you. No past. No future. No tree. Yeah, of course. Ultimately, but that's obvious. You know, a child could tell you that.
I guess on a personal level too, that's the same conflict between feeling guilt
Yeah. So I'll come to you.
I don't have to repeat it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah. That's similar to the sometimes theoretical conflict about the difference between guilt. Obviously, if guilt gets taken away with realization or awakening, but regret and remorse don't have to.
Yeah, or just saying,
I'm sorry.
saying sorry.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because again, you can get, well, there's no past. There's no past, so whatever I did to you, it doesn't matter because it's all your dream, and yeah, okay, ultimately, ultimately, but you can still say I'm sorry, and that's something that can be love too. It can be a beautiful expression of this. Is just to say I'm sorry. Yeah.
Jeff, Oneness has a question. I hope Oneness can get it out properly. You said earlier that in the midst of all your pain or whatever you're going through, in the midst of all that, underneath it all, at the same time, was this feeling of well-being or everything is okay. And I was wondering what accounts for that okayness in the midst of the horrendous pain.
The okayness actually is, the okayness is the fact that it's happening. It's not even okayness with the fact that it's happening. The okayness is the happening, because it's life. So you say, look, what you are is life. What you are is not separate from life, and life, in a sense, is okay with everything. It's not that life says, "Oh, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that." It's that life is everything. So in a way, the okayness is life.
So it's not a feeling.
No.
It's not, okay.
No, it's not even a. Because feelings come and go. Feeling of being happy at something or being sad at something. Happiness, sadness, all come and go. But it's like underneath all that. It's like there's something here that's just it's okay with sitting here because it's sitting here. It's okay with nodding its head because it's nodding its head. It's okay with smiling because it's smiling. It's okay with hearing the sound of traffic because that's what's happening. So it's a kind of a clumsy way of saying it, really. But yeah.
I got it.
You got it.
Wait, I think. I'm not sure.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I have a kind of a strange question.
There's no such
I'm
thing
coming
as a
from
strange.
the point of view that evolution is constant through, maybe not constant, but continuous through life. And you went through your, let's call it liberation 5-10 years ago, whatever. And I'm sure you've noticed a process of change within yourself. You mentioned the tree thing and so on. So you've gone through changes. My question is, do you feel an undercurrent of something new happening, a new stage of evolution occurring within you, either, I don't know, mental, physical, emotional, whatever, something like, aligning with intuition or feeling a need to save the planet or anything? I'm just interested in what's your future.
What's my future?
It's sort of like you were into Advaita. We're separate, and then we're one, and then you kind of drop those concepts, and then I'm just wondering where you're at now.
I'm sitting on this chair talking to you. That's about all I know. No, I'm not on any. Yeah, I'm not on any special mission to go out and heal the world or to go out and awaken people to spread this message. Really, I enjoy it, sometimes. But in a way, it's interesting that the word healing is interesting. So I only discovered recently, actually, it's the word heal and the word whole are from the same root. So true healing for me. It's not about fixing something that's broken, because a lot of people think that in order to be healed they have to fix themselves, or the word therapy is interesting as well. The word therapy, because therapy, again, it just means healing. Like from the Greek, the word therapy just means healing, and healing is wholeness. So again, true therapy, true healing is the rediscovery of wholeness. So therapy, because I used to be a therapist, I used to work as a therapist. When people think of the word therapy, a lot of times they think of fixing something that's broken. There's something that's fundamentally broken, and we're gonna have to fix it, and then there will be healing. But for me, that isn't true healing. That's not true therapy, because true healing is the rediscovery of wholeness within the brokenness. So in a way, that's what I do. I mean, that's what, like in these meetings, it's to meet with people and point back to, whoa. To point back to the wholeness within your experience of being broken and being incomplete. So I don't know. And I wonder how much of our attempts to heal the world actually come from the sense that we are incomplete and not whole, and we need to go out there and fix the world first. I wonder. And of course, there's nothing wrong with if you want to go out and change the world and save the rainforest and all that. Of course, all that will happen or not. I'm not telling anyone what to do, but it's interesting to see where it might be coming from. Is it coming from this place of I feel incomplete, therefore I need to go out and heal people, or heal the world, or heal the rainforest, or heal. And actually, in a way, maybe this is the true healing that we're showing here. Is the rediscovery that there's no one here who is broken, who is incomplete. And then when it's seen that you are, or that life is already fundamentally complete, then that leaves so much room for you to go out and help in any way that. But it's like the heaviness goes out of it. It's the heaviness that goes out of it. It's this, like the seriousness that goes out of it. Because when you feel that you're incomplete, there's like a desperation in everything you're doing. Because really in the end, it's all about you. It's coming from your incompleteness. And if you're trying to heal the world to get rid of your incompleteness, that's a hell of a lot of healing you're going to have to do before you die. I mean, that's going to be exhausting. That's going to be absolutely exhausting. So I'm not on any particular mission, because I see that I don't need to heal anyone. So I'm not trying to heal anyone. I don't see anyone as incomplete.
At the same time, though, you just have this freed up energy. If I'm complete, then I don't really need to do anything for myself, and I've got this extra time and energy to be available to help others if they request it. I mean, I like your approach. It's sort of getting into what I think that after enlightenment, you go into systems thinking, where you see the systemic, the holistic things going on, and you know right where the best effort is placed. And I like your approach of healing. It's like, well, what's the most important thing? And to me, it's people, humanity. So I like the direction that you're sort of going in.
Thank you.
It's
It's like everything we do is healing, actually. It's like because we think it's that I'm going to be healed. Actually, the healing, it's like life is life is healed from you. It's not that you become healed. It's that life is healed from you. So the true healing is discovering the absence of the seeker. It's not that the seeker becomes healed. It's like you're healed from the seeker. Yeah, and then who knows where life will go? That's the thing. Because to an individual, like to an individual wave, looking out at the ocean, seeing millions of other separate waves, and to an individual who believes that they were born and that they're going to die, and that they don't know when they're going to die. This is pretty serious stuff, you know. So I'm going to die one day. I don't know when I'm going to die. It could be tomorrow. It could be today. I've got all this stuff that I need to do before I die. I need to become awakened before I die. I need to become enlightened before I die. I need to fix all this stuff that I think before I die. Then it becomes life becomes heavy. It becomes like literally like a race to the death. You know, it's you know, especially as a spiritual seeker, I was like, God, I need to awaken, and I've only got a certain amount of time, and I could die tomorrow. And if I die without becoming awakened, isn't that a total waste of my life? And then there's always the threat of wasting your life as well. So that's heavy stuff. So when that's seen through, yeah, there's just this space to it becomes a lot more playful. You know, and it doesn't mean that you can't be of help. You could be a greater help than you ever were, actually. Who knows? But I'm just not telling anyone how to live. That's all. This is just what I do. I go around and I talk. See, I don't know anymore what's best. I don't know anymore what's best for the world. I used to know. I don't know anymore what the world needs from me. I don't know what the universe needs. So I can only do what I do what I do, and perhaps this is the healing. You see, I don't know how to heal the world, but I do know how to do this.
What I hear you saying is, if there is that gap, you can almost know that there's a gap if there's a presence of a seeker. And instead of looking out, to look at what's being avoided actively. And what I get from that is that it puts me in touch with almost a ongoing, active struggle to create a story, a patchwork, to justify not dealing with pain. Mm. I'm not sure there's a question in there.
Yeah, that's the struggle. The struggle is to maintain the suffering. The struggle is to maintain the seeking. See, we think we're seeking we're seeking the end of struggle. Actually, the seeking is the struggle. And it takes a hell of a lot of, we don't realize how much effort it takes to maintain that seeking, that constant looking for something, waiting for something, trying to become something, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, you also helped me to see that there's a connection between, I was trying to create a separation between spiritual and worldly.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. And you used you used the quest for enlightenment or realization or whatever in the same sentence as quest for money and power and anything else. So that's powerful. I haven't fully processed it yet, but I can see how both. Well, the idea is not true. It's one movement to seek external satisfaction. Okay, I do have one question here. I've heard some teachers describe when they've had their realization a lessening of fear. Right? Maybe that they're not so afraid anymore of death or basically death, and almost a propensity towards doing things a little bit what I would think dangerous or life. Like I'm not afraid of death anymore, and so I'm going to take certain risks that it wouldn't have otherwise. And You sort of answered it because you're pointing to something that intuitively was my sense, which is that when there's no one there, there's still natural empathy and conscience and all the emotions and pain and fear. But I want to throw it back at you and ask what your sense is. If it would seem to me from the non-awakened perspective that if someone did have a gem that 60 people would come and listen to, that they would take care not to let their physical body get destroyed by doing something that was not necessary.
Well, let's talk about death. So when we think about death, what are we really thinking about when we try and imagine death? What we're really trying to imagine is our own absence. The end of my life, the absence of me. So then we run into a huge problem there, because basically what we're trying to imagine is the world without me. What will the world look like without me? But the problem is, your world is all you've ever known. You and your world always arise together and dissolve together. So your world without you, which is the world to you, the world is your world is the world. The world without you is not a possibility. It's the same thing as saying you can't experience your own absence, because your absence is the absence of the experiencer. So your absence cannot be an experience for you. So this is like the mind hits a brick wall here. It cannot comprehend death. It cannot do it. So that's when it starts to create all these fears. It fears what it doesn't know. And death is the ultimate not knowing. Because death ultimately is the death of mind, the death of separation. So how can thought, whatever you want to call it, how can thought even begin to comprehend the absence of you? It can't. So that's when it starts to create all these ideas of being sucked into a void, or then it comforts itself by creating ideas of the afterlife and future lives and all that sort of stuff. But death is the falling away of the seeker. So in a way, what we're talking about in these meetings is the possibility that this can be seen during life. We don't have to wait until death, because the seeker disappears upon death always. But this can also be seen within life in a way that these meetings are a chance to meet within life before we die. Die before you die. Die before you die, and then there is no death. So I mean, years ago, God, I think in a way that's what underlined. Underlay. That's what underlay. Doesn't sound right anyway. Underlined? It doesn't matter. That's what went to the root of my whole spiritual search, I think, was a fear of death. I think actually that's what it was all about. Fear of my own absence. I mean, years ago I would lie in bed at night, literally, quaking with fear. Trying to imagine that, I would feel as though I was being sucked into a void. I was just falling into this emptiness that would never end, and it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. Of course, I realize now it was all just thoughts. It was all just a story about death. So that's what really terrifies us. It's not death. It can't, because death is nothing. Death is no thing. You can't be terrified by death. What you're terrified of is your story about death. Because death is the falling away of the experiencer. So death itself can't be an experience. It's like deep dreamless sleep. You don't experience deep dreamless sleep because there's no experiencer. And yet we don't fear deep dreamless sleep. We love going to sleep. We long to go after a hard day at the office. Not that I would know. Actually, I did used to work at offices. After a long day at work, we long to sleep. In a way, there's something in us that longs to die. So actually, as all the authentic spiritual traditions throughout the ages have said, death is liberation. But so it's like we fear death. Like death is what we fear the most, but actually it's also what we long for the most, because it's liberation. It's the end of seeking. So really, fear of death is fear of nothing, because upon death, nothing happens. Nothing happens to you, because death is the falling away of the you, who thinks that something's going to happen to you. Like in deep dreamless sleep, when you're falling asleep, you don't say to yourself, "Oh God, something's going to happen to me in deep dreamless sleep."
Right.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens.
You just let go, and you don't know when or if you'll wake up.
Exactly. You don't need to know.
Yeah.
You don't need to know.
Right.
So it's like fear of nothing becomes nothing to fear. I mean, when I used to lie in bed at night, quaking with fear, it was like there was this extreme fear. But I used to think this fear means that it's going to get worse from here. A fear kind of has that quality about it. Fear kind of says it's going to get worse. So it's almost like I thought there was something to fear, and that something was death. But actually, in the end, I never found death. I still haven't found death. All I find is life happening. Where is death? Where is it? It's a story about something that will happen to me. It's all about me.
There is absence in other people's death, the death of people you love.
So on some level, you have to keep reminding yourself that you're alive, you see. So the mind separates life from death, because the mind sees death as the opposite of life. But again, as I was saying before, life has no opposite. The opposite of this isn't death. This has no opposite. The opposite of this is this. The opposites appear in this, you see. Opposites appear in life. So life and death are just concepts that appear within life. So a moment before what we call physical death, there is only this. When you were born, the moment you were born, or whatever was born, or whatever you want to say it, there was only this. Right now there's only this. A moment before what you call death, there's only this. And then death happens, and there's no longer anyone who cares. So that fear of nothing becomes nothing to fear, because there's just, it doesn't mean fear can appear within life. You see, so fear can appear here, but it's just fear happening. It's just fear. So fear can come and go. Fear can't destroy life.
Right. And there's death isn't here right this second. So it's not. It's just an idea.
That's all it is. It's an idea.
And I can see how there is a lot of energy being put towards creating a story around that idea.
Yeah.
And I guess it all can go.
Yeah, like we're so busy trying to avoid death and fearing death that we end up missing life, which is all there is. We end up missing this, which is all there is. And paradoxically, this is death. This is death. You're already dead. The seeker is already dead. The seeker has always been dead. So nothing dies. But of course, okay, so we look out and someone that we love, mother, father, sister, brother, friend, they physically it looks like they've died, of course. But I think what we really mean when we say that someone's died, what we really mean is I don't feel I can be in a relationship with them anymore. Feels like something's gone. So that's what we really miss. That's what we grieve for. Is actually the loss of relationship. But then when you see that actually, and anyone who's lost anyone that they really love, like knows this, that death doesn't really. It's like they're still there, right? When there's love, they're still there, even if they're physically not there. They're still there, in a very mysterious way. They're still there. So that doesn't die. Yeah, of course, bodies cease to function. Let's not kid ourselves. Of course they do. But the real question is who dies? What was it that died, actually? You're not going to find any answers to that question. You'll go deeper into that question, or you'll find it's mystery. So that, like another way of saying that is that which is present upon death is present now. That which is present upon death is present now. Discover that, and there's no death. There's just light. There's life happening. And so, a moment before what we call physical death, so you're lying there in the hospital bed, maybe pain happening, but that's all there is. The rest is a story about death. I'm going to die. But that's just a story appearing in life. So as long as there's someone who thinks they're going to die, as long as there's someone fearing death, then you're very much alive. In a way, even extreme fear of death, it's fully life. The one who thinks they're going to die is very much alive. And that's all you'll ever know. So you can't, whatever there is after death, you will never know. It's not possible. Because it's the knowing mechanism, it's the experiencing mechanism which is destroyed upon death. So consciousness, the reason I don't talk about consciousness is because you have no way of knowing it. No way of knowing it. You can only be it. You have no way of understanding it. Of course, you can have lots of concepts about consciousness. But in the end, whatever consciousness is, it's that which is appearing as all of this right now. You're seeing it, you're already seeing it. You don't need to understand consciousness. It's that which nods its head, and smiles. Consciousness isn't behind the world. It's like, it was your question, wasn't it? Consciousness isn't, it's not even that, and this is language, but it's not even that consciousness appears as everything. Because that kind of would suggest something called consciousness that decides one day to, I think I'll I think I'll manifest myself as a world now. But that's just projecting our own concepts onto consciousness. Consciousness doesn't think, we think. Anything you say about consciousness, it's really about you. So in the end, consciousness, it's not even behind the world, appearing as the world. Consciousness is the world. Consciousness is that which appears. Then you can't even call it consciousness. This is why I don't even use the word very much. I can't even say there's consciousness.
Thank you.
Thank you for what? I've just taken away consciousness from you.
And I appreciate it.
And the whole idea of reincarnation only being conditioned is BS?
No, nothing's BS because it's what you need at the time. It's what you need. Like these teachings appear to meet the seeker where they are, you know.
But I'm talking about from the point of view of truth. It's not
Well, I think the best way of saying it is, past lives, reincarnation. They're real, but they're as real as you are.
Well, that's not too real.
It's not too real. So they appear and disappear with you. All your ideas about reincarnation, past lives, future lives, karma, other realms, it's all you. It's your dream. So reincarnation, past lives, reincarnation, life after death, consciousness, it all appears and disappears with you. It's not. So I can't say it's even real or unreal. It's your dream. A dream isn't real or unreal. It's what you dream. But death is always the death of the dream. So what falls away upon death is reincarnation. Because of course, reincarnation implies that there's some entity here separate from life that can reincarnate.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's discovered that there's nothing here separate from life now, how can there's nothing reincarnates. Because it's about me. It's about because I want to continue. That's what it's really about. I want to continue. So I believe in reincarnation because that gives me, it gives me a second chance. So I can screw this life up, and it doesn't matter.
And what about these mediums? And I mean, the people that are mediums and talking to the dead and all that. Somehow I think it's hocus pocus.
It's their dream. You experience your dream. You experience what you believe. You experience exactly what you believe. So again, I'm not saying it's real or unreal. I'm not invalidating their experience, but it's their dream. In the same way, look at what at night. Look at the dreams that we have. Look at what this can create within a few hours. I mean, whole worlds, universes, angels and demons and gargoyles and gods and monsters and everything. Mm. So why should our waking life be any different? That's what it's capable of. Just look at dreams at night to see what this is capable of. And then it becomes much harder to believe in all this stuff, because you see, it has to be your dream. I mean, even something as simple as sitting on a chair. I mean, that's a dream already. So forget mediums and past lives and all that. I mean, start with sitting on a chair. On some level, in order to experience anything. So in order to experience sitting on a chair, on some level, you have to tell the story that you are someone sitting on a chair in a room in New York. That story has to be running on some level. Without that story, you have no way of knowing what this is. All there is mystery, and not even that. You see. So you experience your story. You experience what you know. You experience what you believe, because what you believe is your story. So prior to the story, I am someone sitting on a chair in a room in New York. What is this? You have no way of knowing. You have no way of experiencing that which is prior to the story, because that would just be any experience would be a story anyway. Mm-hmm. So you experience what you believe. Yeah.
Better watch your beliefs.
Yeah. From your mother? Okay. What's the word awakening pointing to? Well, yeah, I mean, words like awakening, enlightenment, I don't use them very much because they cause so much confusion, you know, because people seem to be trying to awaken, trying to become awakened, trying to reach enlightenment. You know, people think it's about me becoming enlightened or me becoming awakened. Actually, if you go back to these words, actually both words are quite beautiful. If you just see it as a word, so enlightenment is quite a beautiful word because it's to enlighten something. If something is enlightened, it's in the light. It's enlightened. It's in the light. And if something is in the light, you know, it's being seen. If something is in the light, it can be seen. So if something is enlightened, it's revealing itself. It's showing itself. So then you see that enlightenment hasn't got anything to do with me becoming enlightened. That's the dream. That's the myth. It's about me becoming enlightened. The word enlightenment, it's pointed to life. So life itself is already enlightened because everything is already showing it. Everything is already revealing itself. Life is already revealing itself fully, isn't it? I mean, right now in this moment, life is revealing itself totally. There is nothing is hidden. There is no secret. This is life revealing itself totally in every thought, in every sensation, in every feeling in the body. Even in the thought, there must be something more than this. That's still life revealing itself. Or even in the thought, there must be a secret. There must be something missing. Even in the thought, there's something missing. Still nothing's missing. Even the thought that says something's missing isn't missing. Nothing is missing from life. So in that sense, life is already enlightened. It's already in the light. Everything is already being seen, being heard, being felt. And the same with the word awakening. So awakening, it's got nothing to do with me becoming awakened. It's what the word is pointing to is that, again, life itself is already awake. Life itself is already fully awake. Like it's not switched off. It's switched on. Like life isn't asleep. Like stuff is happening, isn't it? Yeah. Is stuff happening?
Yes,
It's not to anybody. So what did you learn today at Jeff Foster's meeting? Well, I learned that stuff is happening. To no one. So life is already awake, and it's only the one who thinks that they are separate from this ever-present awakeness. That one thinks that they need to awaken. They think they're asleep, so they need to awaken. But even that movement is playing itself out within this ever-present awakeness. So it's always awakened. Like what you are is already awake. What you are is already awake to sights and sounds and smell. It's awake to the sound of its voice. It's awake to feelings in the body. It's awake to the sounds of the traffic outside. It's already awake. It was never asleep. It never needed to awaken. So within this ever-present awakeness, the the seeker appears and thinks, right, I need to awaken. I'm going to try desperately to awaken.
I just wanted to know, when the seeker appears.
Well,
and why.
the seeker is the individual. I mean, basically, the seeker is thought, basically.
But what brings that thought?
What brings what thought?
That I have to seek for something.
Why do some people seek and others not?
Yeah, I guess that.
Well, I think everyone's seeking in some way. I mean, people might not be a spirit. People might not be looking for enlightenment. But everyone on some level is. Whether they're looking for money or happiness, or they're looking for peace, or they're looking for what security. Come on, everyone. Love is a good one.
Careful, you're in New York.
Join the club. Well, let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back for the final